back to my channel. My name is Yvonne and this is Sticky Mess 17. My channel is all about cleaning, information, inspiration and motivation, and of course my life. So if you're interested, please like and subscribe, turn on the notification bell so that you're notified every Wednesday and Sunday at 10 a.m. when I upload a new video. In today's video, we are headed to a place called Adventureland. We were quite disappointed to see what this was all about when we first arrived. We did arrive during load shedding, which means there was no power, but the pool was clean, and this was not just all of the park. There was a big section at the back. On our drive home, there was a fire on top of the mountains, so we were sat and just watched that because there was helicopters, which I've never seen. I've seen helicopters, but they were picking up water from the bay and throwing water over the fire and just collecting. Oh, it's just amazing to see. You see it on like the television and stuff like that, and luckily enough, I've never been in the position to actually see this in person, but it was really fascinating to see how these helicopters coordinated everything. And this is the bay, one of the bays over the Knysna area. This is behind Brenton on the rocks, which is the accommodation that we're staying at, and this is on Brenton on the sea. So there is like a waterfront in Knysna, and you can see the helicopters just peering over in the distance there with his bucket full of water. But it is the most amazing view over the whole area, and sad that obviously there's fires, wildfires, we call them felt fires, and fires on the mountain. But it was hitting around 35 degrees, but it was nice to see that they were preserving this around and trying to fight the fire before it spread. So where we were, we have the most beautiful view of the sea and the sunrise and the sunset. So I've got a couple of time lapses here for you of the sunset. Unfortunately, I had the pole in the way here, but I was trying to catch where the sun was actually going to go down. This was one of the clearest evenings that we had, and I just think it is so beautiful. So where the sun is setting is Buffalo Bay and Cape Town direction, and to behind the camera would be where the sun would be rising. So you can see it's going to go nice and dark. And there's one thing about South Africa: when it goes dark, it goes really dark because there's not a lot of lighting, as well as there's a lot of load shedding that goes around, so it does get black. So now this is the next morning, and we've got a sunrise. Unfortunately, we've got a bit of a mountain in the way, so you don't get the full effect of the sunrise, but it was just so peaceful and absolutely beautiful. You can see there's a lot of cloud cover, but it did clear up pretty beautifully in the day, as you can see in the next little clip. Now the next little clip is just the view of another area. This is on the back of the mountain that you saw the view of earlier. That is Buffalo Bay, the little bay that you can see there, which has got such calm seas, beautiful BAAI barbecue area, and there's restaurants, and the sea is lovely to swim in. It's just so pretty in this whole area down here. Now, there's one thing that you will see in my videos of South Africa. There are no lions roaming in our back garden. There is running water. We do have electricity for the most part. There is something called water and load shedding, where they cut certain parts of the country off and there's no electricity and or water. But we do have these lovely little things. These are called bluebottles. They're part of the jellyfish family, and they do have tentacles, as you can see behind there, and those little tentacles wrap around certain limbs of your body and they sting. They are very, very cute, beautiful creatures, but do not touch them. This was a jellyfish that the seagull decided to eat and had a nice meal out of that one. But there was, in the space of about 5 minutes, I think we counted 8 bluebottles that had washed up on the beach, so we decided to leave at that point. We did have incredibly strong winds that night, and it felt like it was shaking the roof. So now we are leaving here, and we are making our way down past Plettenberg Bay, and we are now headed to Port Alfred. This is again a beautiful drive, but you can see the condition of the roads are deteriorating. There is a lot of cracking in the road, and this, I'll be honest, the only time we really were driving anywhere is when it was raining. We also did see a significant increase in potholes. We did take a toll road. We just arrived in Port Elizabeth to fill up. It's about halfway through the journey. I think we had about another hour and 20 minutes to go before our arrival in Port Alfred. We did stay in Port Elizabeth before we flew up to Joburg. Our reasoning for going to Port Alfred, which is very, very windy, is that my daughter, if you've been with me a while, saw my granddad in the kitchen when she was just a toddler and told me about a year later when I was looking through some photographs that that was him. So the last time I was here, all I remember is the curved wall from when my grandfather died. And we found the curved wall the last time we came, which was over a decade ago, 2008. And from when my grandfather died, I was 7 years old. And all I remember is a curved wall after the funeral. And this wall. Now, obviously, for privacy reasons, I'm not going to show you where my grandfather is. But he is in this wall. And I'll be honest, I've been back today and I've already had my cry. And he is the man that my daughter has seen in the kitchen. I mean, this cemetery is vast, right? But the fact that I can see his grave and I can still get emotional. I don't believe in spirits and things. But he's definitely here. I've just driven past his house or down the road and I said, oh my God, he's here. And we drove past and I said, he's on the left. And I looked on the Google Maps and his house was the next road, which obviously broke me down into tears now. He died when I was 7. And he's still with us, I'm sure. Rest in peace, Granddad. I'll see you soon. So I did make another trip down to my granddad's grave before we left Port Alfred. We were here for the total, I think, of 8 or 9 days. I can't remember. Just had to pause. It was 7 days that we were in Port Alfred. There isn't a lot to be done in Port Alfred. There's a lot of museums. The roads, as you can see, are full of potholes. We stayed at a house called Pyramid on the Sea, so I'm going to show you a bit around it now. Even though it's got a very small pool, the pool didn't warm up a lot like it has in other locations that we've visited through our time in South Africa. The only problem we found in Port Alfred was the water shedding. When the electricity goes off, the water goes off as well, so you need to be aware of that. This little accommodation, I will be honest, was absolutely beautiful, perfect for our little family. There is enough space for 4 people to sleep. The only problem we actually found in this particular accommodation was the ants. We were eaten up by mosquitoes as well, and we did go out and buy some what's called Peaceful Sleep. They're little plug-in diffuser type things that kill the mosquitoes. And the water pressure in the kitchen was a trickle at all times, whether the water was on or the water was off. Obviously, if the water was off, there was absolutely nothing at all. There were quite a few steps to get up to the accommodation, but we did have help move in our bags and things. Tea and coffee were provided. The sugar pot, unfortunately, was full of sugar ants, so we don't generally have sugar in our tea and coffee anyway, and we don't generally drink hot drinks, so it wasn't a big issue. So this was mine and my daughter's bedroom, and we had 2 beds, which we did move those bedside tables and put the beds together. There's a little door that you can go out onto the patio, and the dog's waiting for us, and go into the swimming pool. It was super windy while we were down here. The laundry facilities, we used a place called X Laundry, and the service there was second to none. So if you are ever in Port Alfred, I 100% recommend them. Our laundry was done virtually the same day, depending on obviously what time you bring it in. It all smelled lovely and clean. It was washed, pressed. We never asked for it to be pressed, and it was really cheap. It was around about 100 Rand to get our laundry done. And you can see that also the windowsills and everything in the rooms were clean. But also the other problem we had with the room is we had to ask for our towels to be changed. Our bedding wasn't changed in the whole 7 days that we were there. The maid only came in on request. Our beds were never made. The place was clean and tidy. It was very pleasant to stay in. The only downside to this particular place that I found, it might have been our fault because we didn't ask for room services, but you can see that there's blinds on the windows and there's burglar bars on the windows. As I said, the only problem we had was that the housekeeping wasn't the best. The shower was absolutely amazing. It had this tower and rainfall body sprayer thing on it. Absolutely beautiful. The water temperature was perfect. Again, the only problem we had was it leaked over the door. So as you slipped out of the shower, it did become quite dangerous that you would slip on the bath mat. We did end up just putting towels on the floor to minimize the risk of slipping. And the bathtub was absolutely beautiful, clean. There was the toilet was lovely and clean. All the blinds closed virtually to blackout, so that was lovely as well. Other than that, we had no qualms about the accommodation. We did stop for a naughty dinner and we went to an ice cream parlor, a waffle and ice cream parlor down in the Port Alfred Harbour Bay type area. It's the West Coast versus East Coast Bay bits. They are known as the East Bank and West Bank. Now, these things had like orbs in them. And this was, I think it was a pineapple drink. It wasn't mine, but it just looks very unappealing. But I tell you what, it was divine. We had some bubble gum and white chocolate chip ice cream. And here you can see the East Bank Bay and the West Bank Bay over the pier in Port Alfred. And the pier was used to bring logs and heavy, there's some trucks going down to bring large and heavy goods onto the shoreline, as well as obviously products and things for the Port Alfred area. The sea here is very unsafe to swim in. There is like a paddling pool. It's like a bay lagoon for the children, so they can go up there, but it was terribly cold. So we didn't do any swimming at all in the sea whilst we were in Port Alfred. But there wasn't a lot to do, but we did see a lot. We took a drive up to Grahamstown, and I've got other footage of that. If you're interested, there is something called an Obscura. Have a look into that and let me know what you think about that, and I'll tell you some more in the next video. Look after yourselves, look after each other, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, see you, bye!